Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered if we are truly alone in the universe? For centuries, humanity has been captivated by this question, telling stories of strange lights and visitors from other worlds. But what if some of these stories weren't just stories? What if they were real? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most compelling and well-documented UFO encounters in history, the Rendlesham Forest incident. Often called Britain's Roswell, this case is packed with credible witnesses, official reports, and physical evidence that will make even the staunchest skeptic pause and think. So, grab your headphones, dim the lights, and prepare to question everything you thought you knew about our place in the cosmos. The story begins in the cold, dark days of December 1980, right after Christmas. Nestled in the English countryside of Suffolk is a dense pine forest known as Rendlesham Forest. Flanking this forest were two active NATO air bases, RAF Bentwaters and RAF Woodbridge. These weren't just any bases. During the Cold War, they were critical military installations, home to the U.S. Air Force's 81st Tactical Fighter Wing. Tensions were high, and the personnel stationed there were trained to be vigilant, disciplined, and ready for anything. Or so they thought. On the night of December 26th, around 3 a.m., something strange happened. Security patrolmen near the east gate of RAF Woodbridge saw unusual lights descending into the nearby forest. Thinking it might be a downed aircraft, 3 Patrolman Sergeant Jim Peniston, Airman John Burrows, and Airman Ed Kabansug were dispatched to investigate. As they drove their jeep towards the lights, their radio began to malfunction, filled with static. They had to proceed on foot into the dark, eerie woods. What they found was not a plane crash. As they got closer, they described a surreal scene. The air was filled with a strange electric crackle. The animals in the forest, which were usually noisy, had fallen completely silent. And there, in a small clearing, was an object unlike anything they had ever seen. It was a triangular-shaped craft, about 9 feet long and 7 feet high, glowing with a metallic sheen and covered in strange symbols. It hovered silently just above the ground, bathed in a mesmerizing display of blue and yellow lights. Sergeant Peniston, the highest-ranking officer on the scene, cautiously approached the craft. He was a seasoned security professional, trained to handle threats, but this was beyond any training manual. As he got within arm's reach, he felt compelled to touch it. The surface was smooth, warm, and felt like glass. He spent nearly 45 minutes walking around the object, taking notes and sketching the strange hieroglyphic-like symbols he saw etched into its hull. Suddenly, the craft began to rise silently, maneuvered through the trees without a sound, and shot off into the night sky at an impossible speed. The men were left in stunned silence. The next morning, they returned to the clearing. There on the forest floor were 3 distinct triangular indentations where the object's landing gear had seemingly rested. A radiation team was brought in, and they recorded significantly higher than normal radiation readings at the landing site. Especially in the center of the triangular pattern, the evidence was tangible. This wasn't a shared hallucination. Something had landed in that forest. You might think that's the end of the story, but it was just the beginning. 2 nights later, on December 28th, the mysterious lights returned. This time, the base's deputy commander, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, was at a Christmas party when he was alerted to the situation. Skeptical, and thinking his men were just seeing a lighthouse, he decided to lead a team into the forest himself to debunk the whole thing. He even brought a microcassette recorder to document the investigation, intending to prove there was a logical explanation. What happened next would turn Colonel Halt from a skeptic into a key witness. As his team ventured into the woods, they saw the same bizarre pulsating red light. It moved through the trees, seemingly taunting them. As they followed it, their radio communications failed again, and their portable light generator malfunctioned, plunging them into darkness. On his tape recorder, you can hear Halt's professional demeanor slowly unravel into pure astonishment. He describes the object dripping what appeared to be molten metal and then splitting into 5 separate white objects that zipped across the night sky at incredible speeds, performing maneuvers that defied the laws of physics. At one point, one of these objects shot a narrow beam of light down at the ground, right near their feet. Another beam was directed at the weapons storage area on the base a highly sensitive location believed to house nuclear warheads. You can hear the panic and awe in the voices of the airmen on the recording. These were highly trained military personnel, not prone to fantasy, witnessing something they could not explain. The incident lasted for hours, with dozens of witnesses on both bases watching the inexplicable light show in the sky. After the events, Colonel Halt compiled his findings into an official memorandum, which he sent to the British Ministry of Defense. This document, known as the Halt Memo, detailed the entire second night's encounter, including the radiation readings and the strange lights. For years, the military tried to downplay the incident, offering explanations like a nearby lighthouse, bright stars, or even a meteor. However, none of these explanations hold up under scrutiny. The lighthouse beam doesn't match the described movements, stars don't fly between trees, and a meteor doesn't shoot beams of light at a military base. Years later, many of the key witnesses, including Colonel Halt and Sergeant Peniston, have come forward to share their stories in greater detail. Peniston even claims that when he touched the craft, he received a telepathic download of binary code in his mind. He wrote it down in his notebook the next day, and decades later, when the code was finally translated, it appeared to contain a message. The message listed coordinates for several ancient sites around the world, like the Great Pyramid of Giza and the Nazca Lines in Peru, and ended with a cryptic origin point: Hy-Brasil, a mythical phantom island from Irish folklore. So, what really happened in Rendlesham Forest? Was it an advanced, secret military aircraft being tested? If so, why would the US Air Force test it so close to their own base and cause such a panic among their own personnel, including a deputy commander? Was it an elaborate hoax? That seems unlikely, given the number of credible, high-ranking witnesses in the official documentation. Or was it, as many of the witnesses believe, a genuine encounter with an extraterrestrial intelligence? The Rendlesham Forest incident remains one of the most puzzling and credible UFO cases of all time. It's not just a blurry photo or a single person's testimony. It's a multi-night event witnessed by dozens of trained military observers, backed by physical trace evidence, radiation readings, and an official report from a high-ranking officer. It forces us to confront the possibility that we are not alone, and that something beyond our understanding visited a small forest in England over 40 years ago. The truth is still out there, hidden somewhere between official denials and the incredible testimony of those who were there. What do you think happened? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the Rendlesham Forest mystery. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe and ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration of the unexplained. Until next time, keep looking up.